Okay, this is going to be Matthew 24, an update. As Jesus came out of the temple and was going away, his disciples came and pointed out to him the building of the temple. Now I'm going to jump down to verse 3. He was sitting at the Mount of Olives. The disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us when these things will happen. When will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age?" Jesus answered them, "Beware, no one leads you astray. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah. They will lead many astray, and you will hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there'll be famines and earthquakes in various places. But this is all the beginning of the birth pains. Then they will hand you over to be tortured, and will put you to death, and you will be hated by all the nations for my name. Then many will fall away, and they will betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will rise and lead many astray. And because of the increase of lawlessness, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this is the good news of the kingdom, will be proclaimed throughout the world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So when you see the desolating sacrilege standing at the holy place, as is spoken by the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand. Then those in the Judea must flee to the mountains. The ones in the housetop must not go down to take anything from the house, and the one in the field must not turn back to get a coat. Woe to those who are pregnant and to those who are nursing infants in those days. Verse 20. Pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath, for at that time there will be great suffering, such as not been from the beginning of the world until now. No, and never will be. For if those days had not been cut short, no one would be saved. For the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. Then if anyone says to you, look, here's the Messiah, or there he is, do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and produce great signs and omens, to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. Take note, I have told you beforehand. So if they say to you, look, here he is in the wilderness, do not go out. And if they say, look, he's in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes as far to the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever the corpse is, there the vultures will gather. Verse 29. Immediately after the suffering of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give off its light. The stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. From the fig tree, learn this lesson. As soon as the branches become tender, I have to turn the page, and bring forth its leaves, you know its summer is near. So also, when you see all these things, you know that he is near at the very gates. Truly I tell you this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. That's verse 34. And one translation I found said, it goes like this. Truly I tell you that just this generation that sees these things will not pass away until all these things have taken place. Verse 35. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But about that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven nor the Son, only the Father. For as the days of Noah were, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing until the flood came and swept them all away. So too will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then two will be on the field, and one will be taken and one will be left. Two women will be grinding meal together. One will be taken and one will be left. Keep awake, therefore, for you do not know what day your Lord is coming. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known to what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house to be broken into. Therefore also you must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour. Who then is a faithful and wise slave, whom his master has put in charge of his household to give the other slaves their allowance of food and proper time? Blessed is the slave whom his master finds at work when he arrives. Truly I tell you, he will put that one in charge of all his possessions. But if that wicked slave says to himself, my master is delayed. Notice I lost my dog. All right, so we're at verse 48. But if the wicked slave says to himself, my master is delayed, he begins to beat his fellow servants and eats and drinks with the drunkards. The master of that slave will come on the day when he does not expect it and on an hour he does not know, and he will cut him to pieces and put him with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.